2010, China overtook the US and emerged as the world's largest manufacturing sector. The rise of China as the world's factory began way back in the 1980s, initially as a producer of low-end products which gradually rose to become a manufacturing hub of everything under the sun, from drugs to electronic gadgets. According to the estimates of the United Nations Statistics Division, China accounted for 28% of global manufacturing output in 2018. Yet, the coronavirus epidemic is beginning to change this in many ways. The supply shock created by a Chinese shutdown has made global firms to look for new manufacturing centers as a part of a high-risk hedging strategy for the future. Several industries have realized the drawbacks of having excessively dependent on manufacturing on a single country and are looking to expand the geographic spread of their facilities. In one of the previous episodes, we saw that few companies are marching toward India from China. In this episode, we are going to see about the possibility of India replacing China as the world's factory. Given China's situation, India has sensed an opportunity and is very keen to make use of it. China's weak global position is a blessing in disguise for India to attract more investment. India is also readying a pool of land which is twice the size of Luxembourg to offer companies that want to move manufacturing plants out of China. India has also reached out to 1,000 American multinational companies. So, India certainly has an edge to be an alternative manufacturing site of choice. For instance, according to industry experts, the entry-level salaries for workers in India start between 12,000 rupees and 15,000 rupees, which is roughly 157 US dollars and 196 US dollars, while in China the salaries are about 3 times higher. Apart from low cost of labor, India also offers lower operating costs, competitive infrastructure, special economic zones that offer duty-free exports among other benefits, incentives to boost domestic manufacturing and business-friendly policies. Plus, while China is engulfed in a trade war with the US, India has a comparatively good relationship with the US, with both countries currently engaged in a bilateral trade talks. The US-India Business Council, that is the USIBC, is a powerful lobby group that works to enhance investment flows between India and the United States. This organization has said that India has significantly stepped up its pitch. Companies that already have some manufacturing in India may reduce output in plants that are in China and scale up production in India. But things are still at an evaluation stage and decisions are unlikely to be made in a hurry. In an environment where global balance sheets are fractured, relocating entire supply chains is easier said than done. Many of these companies are facing severe cash and capital constraints because of the pandemic and will therefore be very cautious before making any decisions. Production lines and supply lines are far more difficult than most people seem to understand. It is very difficult to pull them apart overnight. So, the Indian government putting together land banks is of course a step in the right direction, but large companies are unlikely to move their operations just because land is made available. China offers integrated infrastructure like large ports, highways and top quality labor and sophisticated logistics, all of which are critical factors to meet strict deadlines that international companies operate on. Another reason for India might not be the obvious choice for global multinationals is because India is not well integrated with major global supply chains. Last year, India came up with a crucial multilateral trade agreement with 12 other Asian countries, collectively known as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, also known as the RCEP. Decisions like these make it difficult for Indian exporters to benefit from tariff-free access to destination markets or offer reciprocity to its trading partners. India's volatile relationship with foreign direct investment and uneven regulation is also something that continues to bother global companies. From prohibiting e-commerce companies to sell non-essential items and tweaking FDI rules to disallow easier capital flows from neighboring countries, the fear is that India has used the pandemic to build protectionist walls around itself. In a recent address to the nation, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, "Be vocal for local." Meanwhile, new stimulus proposals have increased thresholds for foreign companies bidding for Indian contracts. The more that India can improve regulatory stability, the better are its chances of persuading more global businesses to establish hubs in India. So, given this scenario, if not India, then who? Interestingly, the prolonged China-US tariff battle had already made global companies who keep a bulk of their manufacturing centers in China to think about alternative options. The COVID-19 pandemic has further accelerated their plans to diversify their manufacturing capacity beyond China. A number of countries emerge as possible manufacturing options in this situation, and those can be South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, Indonesia, Cambodia and Singapore. So, South Korea and Taiwan are at the high-tech end of the spectrum. Multinationals had actually began moving production out of China into these countries nearly a decade ago due to rising labor and environmental costs. Also, as the US-China trade tensions have increased in recent years, the exiting of companies from China has also increased. Since June 2018, a month before the trade war began, US goods imports from Vietnam have increased by more than 50% and those from Taiwan were increased by 30% according to the calculations made by a Chinese newspaper. Ever since the global financial crisis, more than 50 global companies like Apple, Nintendo, Sharp, HP, Dell, etc., which were based in China, were already shifting or planning to shift their production location to other countries. Most were motivated to relocate because of the rising labor costs in China. India is seen to have lost out because it failed to create conditions allowing multinationals to supply not only the local market but also to use the country as a production base to export to the world. In recent weeks, several states have begun to make moves to address some concerns around the ease of doing business. Most important among them is making changes to India's labor laws. For instance, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh states have suspended significant labor protections, exempting factories from even maintaining basic requirements like cleanliness, ventilation, lighting and toilets. The intention is to improve the investment climate and attract global capital. But such decisions could become counterproductive and hurt rather than help, as international companies have strict codes of conduct on labor, environment and safety standards for suppliers. To facilitate greater foreign investment, we need to have innovation and boost manufacturing infrastructure to create greater mechanization skills in the country. There are different levels of manufacturing capabilities. First is the set of manufacturing activities such as mining, producing raw materials and agriculture related goods, which require a very low level of skill set. On the other hand, there are activities such as textile, apparel and electronics manufacturing, which require a low level yet specialized skill set. However, the manufacturing of high-end complex products such as top-end machinery and chemical products requires highly sophisticated capabilities of development. As a country that wishes to become a manufacturing hub, India must work to improve its capabilities in all kinds of production. 2 decades back, when the world looked out to outsource its service sector work, India had a ready pool of IT experts and English-speaking graduates who used that opportunity and made India a services hub. Similarly, for us to become the most preferred manufacturing hub, we need a ready pool of skilled human resources in the field. The 2013 collapse of the Rana Plaza garment factory in Bangladesh that supplied retailers like Walmart was a turning point. It forced Bangladesh to significantly improve factory infrastructure and safety to clinch more investment. India has to follow better standards. The current ideas are drafted on PowerPoint by bureaucrats who are very far away from the reality of global trade. But with the US weighing punitive action against China, Japan paying its corporates to move out of China, and the UK lawmakers coming under pressure to reconsider their decision to continue their business with Chinese telecoms giant Huawei, global anti-China sentiment is increasing. The time is actually ripe for India to undertake broad-based structural reforms and use the geopolitical shifts to modify its trading relationship with the world. If India complements its state capabilities with more open trade and investment policies, it could be a major beneficiary of these supply chain realignments, and if it chooses, India could be a winner in a post-COVID-19 world. Before I end this episode, let me know what do you think about this shift in geopolitics, and is India capable to become the manufacturing hub of the planet with the existing policies? If not, what are the changes needed to make that happen? Do let me know the answers in the comments. Thank you for the support. This is Nisha.